In India, I've grown up in different cities. So when I was in this one city called Kolkata, we used to celebrate this festival called Durga Puja, and there we create these pandals or structures, and they house the goddess in it. So when you enter the structure, you have this divine presence that you feel, and I grew up watching this, being immersed in that, going and visiting these structures, and I wanted to make that feeling, accessible to people around as well. So I think that feeling of making people feel at home, feel more connected and centered to yourself, that's what in a way pursued me, to study architecture. I would have to say the climate crisis. Throughout the world, we've seen that only when it hits close to home do we start to take it seriously. But we cannot be on the sidelines anymore. I think all of us, in our own individual capacity, has the power to transform our situation. That is why we're here. So even small actions like switching off the lights and fans, using recyclable products, they all help. In my own capacity as an architect, I try to go into ways where it is more sustainable, using local products, and that way we can really help change that situation. Yes, absolutely. I think we have tremendous human potential, and if we can all gather together and rally our brains to figure out ways to use local materials. As an architect, you look at how sustainable villages are, in terms of using mud and adobe bricks instead of cement or concrete to build their houses. In that way, we reduce the carbon footprint, and we're also being more sustainable in that process. Of course, I am representing a country of 1.4 billion people, and Harnaz has done such an incredible job in being an impactful voice for all of us. She's shown how she's redefining what it means to be a woman in today's century, and it's definitely big shoes to fill, but it fills me with a lot of excitement because I come with a different kind of upbringing, a different kind of story, and I'm really passionate about making education accessible to all kids around the world, and that's something that I offer. So I'm currently working with a couple of organizations back in my country, one of which is Teach for India, where I go to classrooms where there are marginalized communities, vulnerable people, and we motivate them to learn, to study, to educate. I also do talk shows and podcasts where we talk about issues which are very pressing, like access to equitable education, and we want to make that more heard to people so that they know that this is a problem and we can all volunteer and do our bit to make this less of an issue in our country. I would say the disease to please. Because growing up, I changed about 6 schools and I lived in 5 different cities, and I would try to morph myself into a version that could be likable by another person, to try and fit in, to feel like I belong. But I think over the years I've realized that there's great strength in owning who you are, and there's tremendous power in just staying true to your dreams. Even if you have to stand alone and walk that path alone, it's absolutely fine. You will find support along the way, but you can't dishonor that calling that you get from within. So that's been my learning.